Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, of course, would like to acknowledge the presence of the two permanent secretaries for Economy and Environment and Waterways, the Assistant Manager of Properties for FNPF, and Avi Raju. We've actually met each other now on 3 occasions over the past 2.5 weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, before sort of just making some very brief remarks, I'd like to give you some statistics. And these statistics, in fact, are quite telling. Over the past century, humans have produced approximately 10 billion tons of plastic. Of this, approximately 6 billion tons are either sitting in landfill sites or somewhere in the natural environment. And the problem, of course, is getting worse. Over the past 65 years, global plastic production has increased by 18,300%. Of course, in some regards, our dependency on plastic makes sense. It's very strong, light, versatile, and they're also cheap. But it's only because we aren't pricing them correctly, as Avi mentioned. When we take into consideration the massive environmental and climate impacts it causes, it's clear they are net negative for society, doing far more harm than actual good. There's almost no ecosystem on Earth where plastics cannot be found. Apparently it's found on the top of Mount Everest. It's found down in the depths of the oceans. They've invaded the highest peaks and deepest oceans on the planet. They will take thousands, some even millions of years to break down. Even then, they never completely biodegrade. And because they're derived from fossil fuels, there's a climate component to this crisis on top of the impacts on environment and, of course, human health. A lot of fish actually now eat plastic. And, of course, we then come along and eat the fish. So we are digesting, if possible, plastic into our systems, our bodies. Fiji's environment, our ocean space, and the ecological treasures it offers are a part of Fiji's economy and way of life in Fiji. It offers us a part of that. In fact, 27% of the Fijian population live within 1 kilometer of the coastline, and 76% of us live within 5 kilometers of the shoreline. We have over 45 rivers spanning over 324 kilometers that are crucial sources of irrigation, food, transport, and even drinking water. In fact, most of the water we drink that runs through our taps are sourced from rivers. We, of course, cannot afford to choke these ecosystems with plastic pollution. We have, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, banned plastic bags, single-use plastic bags below 50 microns. We have banned all local use and export of polystyrene plates, cups, trays, and containers, effective just recently. Earlier this year, we launched Fiji's National Ocean Policy and the Climate Change Act that we actually took to Glasgow, that not only recognize the importance of oceans as a climate buffer, but as an overall mitigation tool and as a source of livelihood and food security. Avi had mentioned the SDGs. Part 13, of course, of the Climate Change Act highlights the importance of ocean sustainability. It's within SDGs. And the need to address plastic pollution to achieve a healthy ocean, a major threat to our marine environment. And as announced in the past few months by the Honourable Prime Minister, and as announced in Glasgow as also part of the Climate Change Act, we have said that we will protect our marine areas, and we said that by 2030, 30% of our EEZ will become exclusively marine protected areas. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, government cannot do it alone. It requires every individual, every Fijian to be able to be in the same wavelength. We need to engender that way of thinking so they recognize that throwing a plastic bottle, throwing a plastic can. Last night I was driving home, it was late at night, about 11:30 p.m. And the car in front of me was throwing out, the twisties and the bongo packets. I mean, these things are also not biodegradable. But in the middle of the city, they felt that they could actually do that. So that sense, that understanding not just about from an aesthetic perspective, it look bad, the place will look dirty, but where will it end up? I mean, sometimes if you go to places, even some of the mangroves around Denarau before COVID-19, you'll see plastic all over, stuck in the mangrove. Go down to the Nasese seawall area. These plastics are actually thrown by human beings, whether they're in a boat or whether they, walking down somewhere down the street. They eventually end up in the ocean. So we have to be able to draw that nexus. And to be able to do that, government can create much awareness, it can create publicity, it can put in place laws where it becomes illegal for one to do so, to pollute, to throw things in public spaces or in the rivers or in our mangroves. But if we don't have those values instilled in us, then we'll be fighting a losing battle. So it starts in your schools, the education, it starts in your homes, to inculcate that level of value. In the same way we talk about domestic violence. It's not only about what laws do we have to decriminalize that, but it's also about the values that you're taught, whether it's in your spiritual environment, whether it's in your home, whether it's through your parents, friends, families, etc. So in this particular instance, of course, we need to be able to partner with the private sector. Cans, plastic bottles are actually produced by the private sector. So of course, sale of things, to sell water, to sell fizzy drinks, whatever it is. So I think it is very fitting tonight that we have another private company that is in fact stepped forward, and I think it's the first private company to do so in such a tangible manner, come forward to be able to address this issue of how do we get rid or have a responsible attitude and approach to the disposal of plastic bottles, of aluminium cans. So I would like to very sincerely thank Avi, Fiji Care, for coming up with this actual project, this particular product. And hopefully it will also inculcate a sense of responsibility in the wider private sector community. And one of the ways, of course, that you can participate in that, we don't expect all of you to go running off and buy these machines. But one of the ways you can do that, as highlighted by Avi, is that you can actually become a partner in this. So people who come will dispose these plastic bottles and cans, they will get points. And when they get points, they can redeem those points. So as he was saying that, you can, if you get X number of points, you can go and get a free diabetes checkup or hypertension checkup. I understand that Vodafone is also now participating with them, where if you reach X number of points, you may be able to get one of their products. There's opportunities. I see some of you who run restaurants over here. You may say if you get 50 points, if you come and buy my, vegetable curry, you'll get 20% off. In that way, and people of course want to, as he has said, unfortunately, in the current 21st century, people like to get what we call instant gratification. People like to be rewarded for something. So if we are able to show people that if you put those bottles and those cans in these machines, you'll be rewarded for it, people will actually become a lot more proactive. As was also highlighted earlier on, in one of the addresses, the container deposit scheme, that's something that we've been, of course, trying to legislate and bring about. But there's, of course, resistance by many companies to do that. In states, for example, in Australia, like in South Australia, and some of the other states, every time you buy a bottle of Coke, for example, or any other fizzy drink, there's what you call a 10 or 20 cents deposit that you are paying for, which you can then take that bottle and get the 10 or 20 cents back because you're depositing that container back with them for recycled purposes. I'd also like to, and of course the app has been developed. I'm not going to mention the app's name because it's not trademarked yet. So I hope we'll get something sorted out. But the point is that we also announced in the budget about recycling, or what we call the tire incentives. And we hope to put those regulations in place by 1st of January of next year. there's so much tires, you know, for cars and vehicles that's imported in Fiji because we import the vehicles. And you know that for many years we've had problems with tires because it gets thrown anywhere and everywhere. It becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes. It's aesthetically not pleasing. So we are introducing, as announced in the budget, a recycling process for that. And as you know, in many countries now, tires become a very important component in road making because rubber repulses water and we need roads to repulse water too. So it becomes less porous. So if you mix rubber or tire, shredded tire with tar, in some countries they also use glass, then there's less opportunity for actual water to seep through the road into the base of the road. So there are many opportunities in that respect. We've also announced in the budget various tax incentives for those who establish recycling companies. And I would like to urge all those entrepreneurs who are here, please look at this area because there are numerous opportunities and companies that put the best foot forward at the right time are able to take advantage of these new opportunities that exist in this new ecosystem. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank all of you for your presence here. I'd like to urge all the businesses. I see Courts is over here. Maybe, if you get 500 points, they'll give you a free bed. I mean, these are the kind of things you need to look at as part of the corporate social responsibility or a discount. So please, I hope you use this momentum and partner with such companies. And I would like to very much, very deeply acknowledge Fiji Cares, new sort of a number of initiatives that they've launched, the new initiatives. Firstly, they started off with the parametric insurance that we're offering now to those on social welfare or who have poverty alleviation schemes. We have now sugarcane farmers, copra farmers, dairy farmers who have access to the bundle insurance, microfinance, micro insurance products. And one of the critically important products that was launched in Nandi about 2 weeks ago now, before the 1st of December, was the product that now it's offered to tourists who come to Fiji. They need to have this insurance because government itself is insuring against any possible cost that may arrive with tourists coming to Fiji as individuals when they do get sick. These are very innovative, cutting-edge products, new ways of thinking, and I think the pandemic has brought the best out in many businesses. And those of you who have not got into that cutting-edge space, please do so. And I'd like to, thank Avi and his team for the innovation, for the creativity, and for their confidence in the Fijian economy, in the administrative system, to be able to bring about these products. So they not only as a company get to market new products and make money from that, but they're also contributing on a socio-economic basis too. And I'd like to urge all of you to do so because it has enabled us as an economy now to open up. We're starting to see tourists coming along. Of course, they said that when the world stopped traveling between in the COVID period, there was less pollution. Of course, pollution levels will expect to go up again. And how do we deal with that pollution? How do we deal with waste? How do we deal with the carbon dioxide, additional carbon dioxide that will be pumped into the air is what will tell us and what will frame us as a country and a nation going forward and indeed as a global community. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your presence. I'd like to congratulate everybody that's launched this product. Vinaka, thank you.